What is up, everybody? You know the deal. Another episode, See the Floor Podcast. You're here with the brothers, your boys, man. It's your boy K Malone,
Ryan Wilson,
and we got a special episode for y'all today. Got to take it, where it really matters. So we about to talk about it. You ready, brother?
Let's get into it.
Welcome in, everybody. See the Floor Podcast. Your boy K Malone,
Ryan Wilson.
Man, I love the ding, ding, ding. Just walk in the ring ready to just get to it.
Throw some blows, huh?
Yeah, but we never opponents. You know what I'm saying? We brothers, we equals. So we just do what we do.
Always together.
Yes, sir. Riding like four flats. Man, but today's episode, does Black lives still matter to the NBA and to basketball and to kind of people in general?
It's a good question.
Yeah, definitely want to get your take first on where you see kind of the BLM movement and where we are today. Now we're in 2021. Obviously, 2020 kind of was the pinnacle year, just the kind of culmination of the last, maybe 5, 6, 7 years of the injustice that we've seen for people of color and minorities, that we haven't seen again since, probably the 60s and, before integration happened.
Yeah. You can definitely tell since, everything has happened that a lot more people are aware of where we are and where this country is. You can also tell that people have kind of taking their foot off the gas a little bit, referring to the NBA. This is something I've been wanting to talk about, so I'm glad we touched on this for this episode, because it just seems like they've done a complete 180. If you look at how things went during the bubble, Black Lives Matter on the court, the T-shirts and the shooting shirts and even the outfits. It's just taking a complete 180, and you have to wonder, does it still hit home for them?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I do agree on just where we are as a country. That I think people are aware. I hope that people are aware after everything that's gone on. I think it's very clear of the direction that we're heading, and I hope that we've created enough noise and enough change that it's not something that's just going to die. It's something that people are going to live by, and that it's a part of our history and culture, that we've still been oppressed at a time that we thought that we had some true equality. The second thing is that I think people on the other side that don't think Black Lives Matter or don't see a problem have truly taken their stance as well. And
Definitely.
They're very out in the open about how they feel about this country and that it's theirs, and there's certain people that don't belong here, and their belief is their belief. Secondly, about the NBA, I don't want to say it's about they taking their foot off the gas. I don't know how you could have kept it at that level. I recently read an article about them, whether Black Lives Matter affected the ratings or not, and Adam Silver, reported that there's really no data to support whether or not it hurt or helped the NBA in that aspect. So one of the things I would say is I think just like anything else in the world, when things kind of die down, we haven't had anything traumatic happen, so it hasn't sparked anything. But I do want to say I do still see that there are certain guys in the league out there really pushing forward and are not going to let it die. But unfortunately, which is good, if we don't have anything traumatic happening, that's what we don't want to see, that oppression keep going on large scale. But like I said, you may have a point that it maybe has died down. But I want to believe that there's players and coaches and people around the league doing the things behind the scenes that we need done.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely not saying it's across the board, but I can't sit here and say, oh, everything is good now.
Yeah.
Just because there hasn't been anything publicized doesn't mean it's still going on. Yeah. And we see it every day, whether it's recorded or not. It's every day.
Yeah.
So I can't really say we haven't had anything traumatic happen. I could say we haven't had anything traumatic been publicized.
Got you.
Yeah, but I don't think that should determine whether or not we're saying something or speaking on it.
Yeah.
And regardless of how many times we say something or how we say it, it needs to be said.
Definitely. I mean, do you think that it's important for each of the arenas to still have the Black Lives Matter branding on the court? Like, is that something that, I mean, are we still Black Lives Matter, or are we now to the point where, okay, we've seen that truly African Americans have been oppressed, but also still our other minorities, you know, there are other things going on in the world. Like, do we need to still be doing something? Because one of the things that I love that I think the NBA is definitely truly like honed in on is like Martin Luther King Day. Like, they make that like, not that basketball and black people are synonymous in one thing, but they've truly taken that day and been like, you know what, this is a great day for us to showcase a great human being, but also showcase basketball and showcase that our players, one, they're grateful for the opportunity that others like Martin Luther King and other people presented and paved the way for. And a great way to give back is to be able to put on a good product that day and have basketball.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They do a great job of highlighting our history on Martin Luther King Day. And no discredit to him, but, well, jumping back to what you said, Black Lives Matter being on the court. It doesn't have to be done, but there are other things that could be done. Just like you said, MLK being highlighted. You can highlight other important black people that have, paved the way for us.
Got you.
But, I mean, there's plenty of things that can be done, but I just feel like there's nothing that's been done.
Okay.
Like, there's so many creative people in this world. You can think of anything.
Definitely. So, with that being said, do you feel a type of way, or should any individuals, of color feel some type of way that possibly the way that the NBA was branded in the bubble with the floor and the message and all those things, is that just truly a one-time thing? And like I said, do you feel a type of way that it might have been just a one-off thing in the climate that we were in, and that if basketball is always like this in the form that we're used to, that we may not ever get that kind of setting and platform for it?
I think there was a reason for, how intense Black Lives Matter was branded. Essentially, the George Floyd incident and the many others that occurred. But like I said, it's just so much that can be done. Right now, it feels like it's a one-time thing, but this is just history repeating itself. I mean, this has happened over and over, and, we riot or we protest, and then you hear nothing. It's crickets. So, I mean, even the NBA players, we talk about it. We were pushing, don't take your foot off the gas. We need to keep this going. But what's happened?
Yeah.
We've taken our foot off the gas.
Yeah, and like I said, getting a chance to try to sit down and do a little bit of research. Obviously, there are certain players that are still pushing for it. Chris Paul is obviously a big advocate for it. He is still showcasing and trying to do things to highlight historically black colleges. I mean, he's definitely found a cause that he's committed to.
Yeah.
Other athletes have their things. I see Tobias Harris is still pushing things. But I think we still need some more of our stars to have that impact. Obviously, we know Bron. His impact of what he's trying to do is just global, and you can appreciate that his I Promise School isn't just about African American kids. It's about giving kids, in that greater Akron area, an opportunity to have the best opportunity they can get. So, with that being said, I would. Is there any particular player, or is there a particular cause or thing right now that you see that does need highlighted or attention?
I don't think there's a particular player. I think it should be a group thing. I think all the players should participate. I don't think it should be a certain player, or I don't think you should have to be a certain caliber. Now, you being a higher caliber of a player, that does help. But at the same token, any help is good help.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely something that I know, for us, recording this episode, this is, late January. As we start to get into February, Black History Month is going to come along. And definitely, I know for sure, just because in times of past, the NBA is going to highlight some of the very important, African-American people that have paved the way. Also just celebrating the history and the culture of that month. And then also, the players recognizing that obviously All-Star Weekend always happens around that time, and that's a great time to showcase the African-American culture and the players that represent that culture as well. So what are your thoughts about, because the fact that this year is different and maybe the All-Star game happens later if it still happens in February, that, is there a way to, really kind of get the momentum back going again and, getting it pushed back, maybe putting that foot back on the gas in terms of, where we stand, with Black Lives Matter?
Well, in the month of February, that's expected.
Okay.
So, there's not really anything more you can ask because, they're going to go over the top because it's the month of February. It's Black History Month. So, it's not really much I can ask for or want. But, the rest of the months of the year, it'd be nice to, have something.
Definitely. Now, to the average fan, because obviously we're basketball people, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we do. So we have a high expectation of where, we see the league and other things done. And, I know for college, it's a little bit harder. It's you're talking about universities, things like that. But, to your average fan, do you think that they would like to see basketball without the branding and the push for that? Like, just your casual fan, whether, black or not.
I'm sure there is a group of those people that would prefer you leave that out of basketball. Okay. But I take that as the same thing as if I say Black Lives Matter, you say All Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing, in my eyes, at least.
Now, is part of that due to the fact, though, that would you like to still see it because the demographic represented in the NBA is black players, African American players, or just in general for where we're at in society, like it still needs to be highlighted?
I'd say that. It just needs to be highlighted. And it has nothing to do with, African Americans being majority in the league. It just needs to be highlighted.
No, I can definitely agree. I think that, one, we've never had a time like this where all of those things happen and we have this big of a platform and we have this many people in positions to do that, because I think what happens is when you have athletes like LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and James and other players like that, people can identify with them. And if they can speak up, that gives other people that are in the community and out there in the world that space and that confidence to truly speak up and find a way to progress what these players are trying to do on the smaller scale, because we need people in spaces where these things are truly happening and people are getting affected. Our leaders, our councilmen, our lawyers, all those different people that can have an impact on day-to-day lives, not just athletes saying it, bringing some joy, giving some money back, but the people that can give true change. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to see, because I think those people, when they see our athletes speak up, that gives them that confidence.
I definitely agree.
So one of the main things that I definitely wanted to touch on in this episode, because to me, this is my biggest thing of maybe why Black Lives Matter isn't getting as highlighted, has been that we're in November at the start of the season, or going into December. We had one of the major thing that happens in our country every 4 years, that, it was time for us to elect a new president. And obviously, 44, he doesn't really, get his name on this show for us, but we had to, as people, had to decide, like, how are we going to move forward with everything that's gone on? And I want to say that is a big cause of maybe, because that's what highlights the news.
Yeah.
And definitely things are going to take a back seat when that happens in a good way and also in a bad way. Like I said, it is important that we do that, but I hope that every time we have an election, everything doesn't just die down and get pushed to the side.
Yeah, I agree. And this election was special. It was definitely special. But just this election alone, I feel like that's even more reason to talk about it. Because, you look at them storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
Nothing was said. You talked about it for a couple days, and that was it. But if we protest, if you see African Americans protest, and they talk about that for weeks, months.
Now, I will say I'm glad that people really did identify that the people that decided to do that, that was in a terrorist type of vein.
Yes.
You know,
Agreed.
I do want to say this to you as, what do you think people would have thought if that would have been people of color going in to do that versus a very radical group of people?
There would have been a lot more casualties. Unfortunately. There would have been a lot more casualties.
And it's kind of sad to say. That kind of leaves you in a space that you do wonder that if, for whatever reason, the people that look like us, that have, you know, had things done to us, said to us, the feelings that other people have towards us without even knowing us, if we decided to do something like that outside of what people before us, like Martin Luther King, told us to find a way to peacefully protest, if we would have decided, okay, we've had enough, and we storm the Capitol, like what that would have looked like. And that's a scary thought.
Yeah, that's the world we're in right now, which, you know, that's just adding on to what I've been saying.
Definitely.
You got to keep it going because in no world is that acceptable.
No, not at all.
No matter how you look. So,
yeah. But there are people in the world that see the color of their skin and think that there are no consequences.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Or look at our pigmentation and they're terrified.
Yeah. Very true.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's just been some of the things that I've been thinking about. You know, when we curate these ideas, you know, we have our own thoughts, you know, sit down about that. I mean, one of the other things too that I want to say that I think, you know, has been going on towards whether or not Black Lives Matters died down. I do want to say, you know, because specifically he was in the spotlight, you know, talk about Kyrie Irving, that while he was absent and a lot of people, including myself, until the facts came out, that thought, you know, maybe Kyrie's a little loopy, maybe he's a little out there, and that, you know, maybe that still might be the case, but that there was a part of the time he was away trying to affect change, that he bought a house for George Floyd's family, that he did give back to his Native American community that he's very, very passionate about, and that he was trying to do things off the court that he felt like was almost unfinished business for him, you know, because of a short offseason. You know, how do you feel about that, about maybe players kind of pushing their own agenda or things that they want to see done? And, you know, for him, he felt like he needed to step away from the game and get that done.
Right. I was definitely happy to hear, you know, that he was doing things like that during his time off. But it just makes you wonder. You know, I can sit here and say, you know, not much is being done, but it could be a lot more being done, just not publicized. You know, there's a lot of players that do things on their own, like you said. And, you know, that does bring joy to me. That does make me happy that, you know, there are people that are doing things elsewhere, because it's a big country.
Yeah,
so
it definitely is.
All you can do is your part.
Yeah. And with that being said, I mean, we talked about it too. Individuals like Maya Moore, I mean, what she did, that the young male that like she fought for to end up getting out of prison, that he was falsely convicted. And I had no idea that they end up, you know, getting engaged, and that there was more to that than just, you know, helping this, like, you know, man get out of jail. Like that over that time, they built a connection where they felt like, man, we really have things in common, the things that we share. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's not like, those are the things that I think people like miss.
Yeah.
That this isn't just about whether what's right or wrong. Like, we're all people. We all have emotions and we all have things that we go through. And that human connection is something that we all crave. And I hope that people can see past what we look like, where we're from, and can like get to that type of level.
Well said, young buck. Well said.
Hey, man, that's what a college degree, a philosophy class, a couple, you know, things here and there will do for you. But no, seriously, like in that vein, though, like I just think that's some of the things that like we're missing. And I think that's the whole point of trying to progress and move forward. If we're going to say we're a progressive people and country, I hope that we're like truly doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, this is our platform. A lot of people didn't have the same type of platform that this can get posted, you know, to different podcast platforms, to YouTube, to other things. And I think hopefully people can see like where we come from and like what we look like and what we do, and say like, okay, like I get it. I do get it. I see it. I get it. I understand it. I want to be a part of it. I want to be aware.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I definitely am glad that we're doing this. I definitely don't want people to think we're attacking anybody. It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
We said it before, just more conversations need to be had.
Yeah.
And, whether one person hears this or 100 people hear this, it's a good conversation that needs to be heard.
Definitely. To everybody listening, to everybody watching, like, don't fear my blackness. I'm just me. You know what I mean? There's not a whole notion of like, oh, you acting black.
Yeah.
I'm not acting black. I'm black. Do you? I don't think you want me to say, oh, you're acting white.
Yeah.
That's always been a thing. So I'm just like, hey, I'm just me. I'm unapologetically me.
Yeah, that's all you can be.
Definitely.
I mean, it's only one you.
Yeah, for sure. Man, one of the things, obviously, this time of year, we're 1 year removed, man, from Kobe Bryant. I hope everybody can see the magazine cover in the back.
Yeah.
Talk about maybe one Kobe Bryant thing or story that has like meant a lot to you, or something maybe you reflected on the past year.
I mean, as you know, I haven't always been a Kobe fan.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that, because I'm Team Jordan all the way, still Team Jordan. You hear me?
No, he let you said it to the camera. You let everybody know we get.
But the man, he won me over. And I can't even say when it was, but just watching his game, honestly, I think it was his footwork. Just watching his footwork, it's just impressive. Like, you've never seen anybody's footwork like that. And it's just like from the wing to the block, just anywhere on the floor, his footwork is just exceptional. And you can't deny talent. You just can't. You can't deny his skill. You can't deny his mindset. You can't deny his heart. And that's what I loved about him.
Yeah. I would just say, I'm trying to think about football, baseball, basketball. Like, I just don't know another player that's missed the way Kobe Bryant has missed.
Yeah.
Generationally across all sports. The NFL has the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Walter Payton is surely missed because you're talking about, what did he finish on the NFL top 100 players of all time, like top 20? So now we're talking about a top 20 player gone of all time. But for the NBA, I mean, we're consensusly talking about the guy who's right behind Michael Jordan, someone that's a consensus top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
And I think the impact that he has on all the players.
Yeah.
And, we talked about it in the episode that we highlighted about him. His whole mentality thing is something that can't be replicated.
Yeah.
It's so hard to fathom just like I said, the what's inside of Kobe's mind. And then also, just like I said, off the court. I mean, he's the epitome of what you want to see, like, out of a father.
Yeah.
And those things, like I said, they just don't make people like that. And you have to be a special individual yourself to, one, put that mask on every day and not a mask to hide yourself, but that mask of like, it's time to go to work and it's time, to take on and be that black snake.
Yeah.
That I don't care. I'm here to conquer and destroy. But then to be able to go home, take that mask off and put the mask on of dad and truly embrace it. That's the thing I say when I say miss, it's just like that, I want to strive to get to.
Yeah.
That I want to be able to put the mask on and go to work every day and be the best I can.
Yeah. I'll definitely say I feel like what makes him so loved and respected is the fact that he was not only a great student, but he was a great teacher.
Mm-hmm.
He always looked to learn more, to improve his game, to add to his game, but he never hesitated to share with you to help your game, to help your craft, to build your craft. And I think that's what people love about him.
Yeah.
So,
because I would say if you follow Kobe Bryant, that's not something like KB8 people would have thought about.
Yeah.
Because he was the young pup and he was trying to be the guy. And, maybe he's seemed as arrogant as selfish, but
that's hunger.
Yeah. And that's what it is. That's that, like, when I'm in the prime of my career and I'm young, like I'm chasing, he knew exactly what he was chasing. He was chasing the ghost. He was chasing that black cat. And, you really have to put yourself in a different space when you're chasing the greatest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's still hard. You know what I mean? Because it was just such a, I don't want to call it an eerie day, but it was just one of the most shocking things that I think I've ever had, for me personally. Just somebody I don't know, someone whose connection I have is just through a television and just the small stories of my dad getting to be around him. But yet it hit me in such a place of, that I won't ever forget. So it was just a weird feeling.
It's crazy how people can touch you from afar through a television. But I can't. I thought it was fake news when it hit my phone, and I was just like, man, here we go with this again.
Yeah.
So once you find out that it's real, you just have to take a moment and sit back and just, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Life is crazy.
Definitely. And then, the last thing I want to say on that is a lighter note. It's been great to see a lot of the videos and stuff that's been posted, because that's what makes it not as painful, because you get so much. I get so much joy seeing, those videos of Gianna I haven't seen, and videos of Kobe that I've never seen before, and that people are going to start to go into the archives every time this time comes around. Each year, to celebrate him and celebrate his legacy. The NBA is putting his name on the All-Star Game MVP. Well deserved. Obviously knew, I had a feeling something like that was coming, because we're talking about one of the best, and you want to find a way to commemorate him and all his accomplishments.
Yeah, you can't. I can only imagine how the love and respect that he's received while gone, how it affects his family. Like, it has to make them proud, and it doesn't take away the pain, but it has to soothe the pain at least.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
that's all you can hope for.
Yeah, and of course there's people, I know everybody reads the news, all the different things maybe going on with his wife and all those things. Like, I try not to worry or focus about any of those because that's part of the life that, this people's private life.
Yeah.
It's not my job to speculate or talk about, and it's not even somewhere we're going to, try to cover, on the show. One of the last things that I want to talk to you about is, one, this episode was definitely to highlight, Black Lives Matter, and kind of maybe some of the things attached to it with basketball and without basketball. But going forward, 2021, we have this year, right? We're still kind of in the middle of COVID. We're going to talk about that on, on the next episode, how the NBA's dealt with and affected with COVID. But like I said, in just kind of summary, what would your suggestion? What's your thing going forward in terms of where the NBA is at? How do we incorporate Black Lives Matter better, and kind of just the next steps? Because there's got to be a next step.
As far as highlighting Black Lives Matter, I would like we said, there's plenty of players that do things without it being publicized. I would like to see it be publicized more.
Okay.
Like we had we still might have it, but the NBA Cares. You could do something like that for, the foundations or whatever it is that players are doing behind closed doors.
Yeah. Now, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you touching on that. Is that something, though, that do our players need to highlight what they're doing? Is it their job? So it's the people reporting to decide okay, I've heard this information. Maybe I asked that maybe the reporters need to do the digging and bring it to light.
Right, because you dig for dirt.
Okay.
Why not dig for light?
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because like I said, for me, somebody that I want to consider myself one day a sports journalist, I think that there's never a wrong time to highlight what our athletes are doing for other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's maybe where we're in. And I want to know, and I hope our sports journalists are trying to at least uncover, like you said, and not just always uncover dirt or uncover stories, but really showcase, what good, our athletes are doing, because one, an interesting fact that I was told is that a lot of these beat writers for newspapers and news stations in the markets where teams are, they have people that strictly like go to the police station to see if there's anybody like, if any athlete or any of the team. And like we heard it, on the, show that we watched, that there's people that literally go down there to see if any of the athletes in that market, have been booked for anything or anything's happened.
Yeah. Every hour on hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like this world needs more positivity.
Definitely.
We've had all the negative we can have.
Yeah. And the one thing is Black Lives Matter doesn't just spread just across the NBA. I mean, I'm hoping, like I said, that we've got to a point of awareness. We've got to a point of change. We hope that there's a continue of progression. But let's not just act like, it's just our NBA guys, our NFL guys. Definitely have spoken out. Yeah. I hope the amount of African-American players we have in baseball will speak out. I hope the amount of guys we have in the NHL, like, our golfers, any actors, everybody just continues to speak up and put us in a position. Let's not wait till the next tragic event to happen to put our foot on the gas.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm trying to run for president or mayor or anything, but I'm an advocate, for what I believe in.
I feel you, and I definitely agree.
Yeah. Man, I mean, the other thing is, too, it's so good to have basketball. Like, it's here. We're getting to the thick of it.
Have you been tuning in more?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
you started out kind of slow. So.
Yeah, picked up more on the college basketball. Like, they, even with everything going on, and that's something that we'll touch on, but, our basketball is here because football's winding down. Yeah. And definitely something, I was definitely tuned into football. But now that
I don't want to talk about that fantasy league we was in.
So I can't tell everybody how poorly you did.
Here we go.
It's okay, But you can shout out who won, though.
Did you win? Did you end up winning?
No, I didn't end up winning.
Yeah.
Who won? Think about it. Our two people were the two in the final.
Yeah. You're right. Right.
It's okay. We're not gonna talk about it. I took my L, but I did win my 2 other fantasy leagues.
This boy's in like 8 different leagues.
I was in 3. Okay, hey, you know what it is. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, I've been glad that we've had it, and then it's picked up. The basketball is basketball. Yeah, you know what I mean. So trying to find a way to do it with less fans and all the craziness that happens in 2021 seems to just roll on the way it is.
Yeah.
So you were craving for this year. I hope it's everything that you've wanted so far.
It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good.
Okay.
Can't complain.
Yeah. So, man, you already know the deal. Follow your boy. Instagram. Be great _KKE.
Hit your boy up. Witness your moment. You are.
Yes, sir. Get at that Instagram.
And the Twitter.
Yes, sir. Both of those.
See the floor _.
Yes, sir. Until next time, y'all. We out.
See life like you see the floor.